Welcome back to the Dorian Fitness Podcast. If you're new to my podcast, it's about my fitness journey and lessons I've learned on my journey. I'm Dorian. This is week 10, and what I've learned this week is more how to weigh food and how to count calories, and I'll get into that more one day or day one. You decide. Every achievement begins with a decision to do it. Ignorance destroys so many opportunities that come to our lives every day. Motivation is overrated. Discipline and accountability are what matters. I want to be uncommon among uncommon people. My goal is to weigh 203 pounds and a half by June 1st, which I weigh currently 227.7 pounds, and that means I need to lose 24.2 pounds, or averaging right now about 2.4 pounds per week. And my daily intake is still 102 grams of protein per day, 30 grams of fiber per day, 30 grams of fat per day. And this is basically week 3, but really I feel like it's week 2 of implementing 2 different types of meals plans per week. One being for when I'm working, because I'm doing a lot of walking, and then the others my rest days, where I'm not eating as much calories, so I'm going to eat only 2 meals per day. And if you want to see the pictures, go to my blog, dorianfitness.com, or X, formerly known as Twitter, or Instagram for pictures that I'm going to be talking about. But really, from last week to this week, I thought I actually would weigh more weight because I felt sluggish this day that I was weighing myself, and I had a lot of food yesterday, so I thought I was going to be weighing more than last week. But I was happy to see that I lost about 2 pounds this week. And so far, everything's doing good. I'm trying to take it easy in the gym. The highlights for working out this week was more just being able to split up my workout. I tried that a little bit, where I skipped doing my shoulders for my upper body day. So the next day I did just straight shoulders. And I thought I would be sore today because I really hammered them twice as hard as I normally would, and I don't feel any pain whatsoever, so I'm very happy for that. Made sure to stretch, went in the sauna about 15 minutes, and that helped with my sinuses a little bit. And moving on to my business, I already outlined a plan for that and already outlined the budget per video, so I'm very happy for that. And reviewing and looking over what I can personally do part-time for my business will probably be about 2 videos per week, and then shooting for 5 shorts per week as well, 1 podcast, and then looking at more doing marketing and creating products so I can generate more income with this and having a video budget as well. How to weigh food. Weighing food is very unique for me. I bought a digital scale and then left it in the box for several months, and then I took it out once or twice and then put it back in the box and thought it was a complicated process, but over time it became easier. And really you have to do it for, I would say, for a whole year to get used to the habit, get used to the foods that you eat, get used to the size of the foods. Then you probably don't need the scale as much. Maybe once or twice a year you bring it out to just double check and refresh your mind. And if you don't have a food scale, I'll have in the show notes 2 different links. One for $55, which I don't have it. I found it very unique because it shows the nutritional value of things that you weigh, which that is, I would say, a game changer. But right now I'm happy with my scale because how I do it is I Google the nutritional value and I have it on my phone, and then I cross-reference how much it weighs versus the nutritional value that's on the Google. And if you want to do it that way, I also have in show notes a cheaper food scale, so you can do it the same way I do it. And really, if you don't want to buy the ones that I'm recommending, you just have to look for a digital food scale that weighs in ounces. And almost every single food scale I looked on Amazon or at Walmart has all those settings, so you don't have to worry about it. You just want to look for one that will fit your needs and depending on what you want to do. Most of the food that I weigh is less than 10 pounds, so I got a small scale, and that's what I recommend is the two of them. The one you can weigh up to 30 pounds on it, but you don't need to weigh too much for it. And then how you really do it is you place a empty container on the food scale, and then you zero it out so that it doesn't count the container. And then you start putting in your chopped foods in it to weigh it. And you don't want to mix the food really, which becomes a pain, but you want to do that so it gets accurate measurements. So you don't just put, your steak in there and then you put your chicken in there at the same time, because then it becomes more of, what is what, and then you have to subtract the meat calculation. And I would recommend having your phone with notes out or having a notebook with you to write down how much stuff weighs. And then also realize that when you cook the food, it will shrink, losing water weight, and you will lose some of the weight as well. And you're recording everything of the weight. I personally do it in ounces, because if you Google the nutritional value of steak, it will say, 4 ounces of steak has this much protein, this much stuff. So I just do that instead of converting it into grams or something like that. And then some tips, like I already said, the raw food versus cooked foods. And then you have to make sure that you zero out the measurements so it becomes a consistent measurement. And then you also want to really think about, this goes to meat with bones or apples or stuff you have to peel. It's really you're weighing only the edible portion of the food, not the bones or the seeds and stuff like that. And you want to clean your scale, clean the container that you weigh stuff in. I use a plastic or glass container, so I can always clean it very well. And just be patient, and it's a progress of getting to know your scale, getting to know how to do the containers, and also don't overfill them to avoid spillage. And also just take your time, get used to it. Maybe do smaller portions, not bigger portions right away. So then later on you can do bigger portions. And that's really how you weigh your foods, is really you just have the container on the scale, zero it out, then you put one piece of whatever you're weighing on it, then take a note, take out the stuff, possibly wipe down the container if it's going to be you're weighing meat and then vegetables and potatoes or something like that. I'd recommend weighing the stuff that can not cause salmonella. So I'd do the vegetables, fruits, potatoes first, and then the meats last, just to avoid the contamination that well. Moving on to how to count calories. And I'm going to involve other things as well, which I've talked about, but we'll get into as well. But counting calories involves tracking the number of calories you consume throughout the day. This is helpful for managing weight, fitness goals, and monitoring your overall nutrition. Calories is not everything, but it's something that for 1 pound of loss or 1 pound of gain, whichever way you want to do it, is about 3,500 calories. So if you want to lose a pound in 1 week, you need to consume 3,500 calories less than your maintenance weight to lose that weight. Or if you want to gain a pound, you need to eat 3,500 calories more than your maintenance weight. And we're going to get into that first. First step is finding your metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories your body needs to maintain your basic bodily functions at your weight. Some factors also include your age, your gender, your weight, your height, all come into play. Most of the time, you take your weight and times it by 10, which, for example, I weigh 230 pounds. I'm rounding up to that number. Times 10 is 2,300 calories per day to stay at this weight. So that is how you determine your metabolic rate. There's many different factors going into it, and also depending on how your body functions and consumes calories, you can actually be burning more or less. Those are also other factors which consult an expert on your specific situation. And then you want to set your calorie goals based off of your objectives. Whether it's weight loss, maintaining weight, or gaining muscle, it's a common approach of doing a calorie deficit, which we already talked about, which is eating less food to lose weight, or a calorie surplus to gain weight. Which I'm not going to say muscle, because really the muscle is gained by lifting weights plus protein intake. That's how you gain muscle. Just increasing your calories doesn't quite increase your muscle content. Now, choosing a method for tracking, it really gets down to online or in-person tracking. In-person tracking is using a notebook, piece of paper, a food diary, which I'll have a link for that as well. And those are just different ways to track your calories in person, live, or online could be mobile apps that track it, which I've tried them all. I personally don't care for them, and I find that you don't need to pay a monthly subscription for tracking your calories, and I personally like the food diary type thing, or a notebook, or just straight up using my phone or computer and using the documents functions on either one to track it. You don't really need to pay money for it. And then the third method of tracking is taking a picture of everything you eat and drink, including snacks and condiments. And that I find to be a useful and quick way of doing it, because instead of writing out the whole dish, every ingredient, what calorie content is, you can track, just take a picture of it and just put today's date and put it into a document on your computer or put it on your phone like that. And that'll keep it like that. And then you can go back and guesstimate how many calories. And there are some apps, supposedly you can take a picture of a dish, tell it what's the dish called, and it'll actually break out how many calories it has, which is a good function as well. And might have to try that. I have not tried it yet. Step 4 is recording everything. That's why you have your tracking method. And you're recording your snacks, beverages, condiments, everything you eat. And you calculate the calories, protein, the fats, fiber, carbohydrates. Those are the type of things you're looking at. You're looking at boxes, looking at the label on the back that says nutritional value, and pay close attention to serving size. They'll usually trick you and show, very low calories, very low like carbohydrates, that type of thing. And you're like, this bag of chips is awesome. And then you look at serving size 20 for a normal one serving bag. It's like, no, it's a lot bigger. And that's step 5 is monitoring your portion size, which that's why you're using a food scale to monitor your portions. Like a portion size of chicken or steak is like 4 ounces, which is about the size of your hand worth of that, which is very little for most people. Step 6 is be mindful of the hidden calories, such as cooking oils, dressings, sauces, all add up very quickly because oils and sauces usually have a lot of fats in them. Every gram of fat is 9 calories, so that adds up fast. When you have a salad dressing that has 15 grams of fat in it, that's over 100 calories just for the little bit of sauce that you put on your food. Number 7, stay consistent. Consistency is the key. Tracking your calories every single day. Try to stick with your calorie goals. Over time, this practice will become more of a habit, and you'll be able to just put that into your diet. But it's really about consistency. Also includes lifting weights, exercising is about consistency. Step 8 is adjust as needed. If this routine is driving you up the wall, you need to change it to find something that is more comfortable, something that you like more. Maybe it's going to be using the 80-20 principle, and where you diet 80% of the time and then 20% you go out to eat. Have your cake, have your desserts, have your donut, have your coffee with all the sugar that you put into it. You adjust it so you can have it that you are enjoying life, enjoying foods. And also, sometimes some people burn calories faster or slower than others, and then you will have to adjust your diet as well. And calories, counting calories, if you think all breads are the same amount of calories, there's a lot of bread that has a lot of sugar in it hidden in there. So you always have to check the label on everything. And then tips, the number one thing is educate yourself looking at the nutritional content of different types of foods, and also look at the macronutrition, which is the protein, fats, carbohydrates in the foods, and trying to make a balanced diet. And also stay hydrated, drink a lot of water, even track your water too is a good goal. And it's also drink your water goal before you start drinking a lot of juices or teas, so you can get your hydration goals in first. Thank you for listening to the Dorian Fitness Podcast. Please follow my podcast, rate this 5 stars, and follow me on social media for more. Thank you very much.